So, Mario,
Yep.
how do you pronounce your last name? Is it Dag? And are you related to the hockey player that the Sens tried to draft and was a total bust?
Yeah, they drafted him, so I'm not related to Alexander Daigle. I've always pronounced it Daigle because my dad was an English teacher, so
Okay,
he translated the name for English speakers. So he always said Daigle, and that's always what I've done too. Yeah.
got it. Okay, so my last name's a nightmare, so we're not going to approach that. But
I
how
wasn't gonna.
how are you and the family holding up? Like this is a weird time right now. Uh,
Yeah.
you've got an Iron Man T-shirt on, so I'm assuming you like to be outside in the.
Yeah, I do. I do like to be outside. I like to be moving. Our family's a pretty active family. We're doing okay. I mean, it's hard. We miss our friends. We miss socializing. We miss hanging out with people. That's weird.
Yeah,
These kinds of technologies make it easier.
yeah.
We got a puppy, so there's that
That's
newness in
right.
our house. So that's kind of exciting, keeping us busy.
Is it day four with the puppy?
Saturday to Thursday, 4/5. Yeah,
Four
yeah,
and five. Okay.
yeah, yeah. It's going well. Slept almost through the night last night. One get up, which I hear is great for an 8-week-old puppy. So
Good.
doing good, doing
That's
good.
amazing. So
Yeah,
Mary, I gotta ask. There's a lot of uncertainty in the market. Obviously, we're all kind of battling through this and adjusting as we go. You happen to be one of the top people with one of Ottawa's booming companies, Interset.
yeah,
It's now part of the Micro Focus family.
yeah.
You guys are still hiring like crazy. You're growing a lot.
They are.
You're changing the world in the face of adversity.
Yeah,
Um, what to you, like you're specifically hiring for a product manager for your team.
yeah,
You and I have had conversations in the past about what makes a successful product manager and
yeah.
what doesn't. Give me an idea. Like what outside the resume, what are you looking for in someone that can come in and really succeed with you guys at Interset Microfocus?
Yeah. So I'll start with a comment that our CTO Stefan Ju said to me before I moved to doing startups. He said to me, when you do a startup, which we still feel like, and you know this because you engage with us quite a bit,
Yeah,
right? We
yeah.
still have that startup feel, which is great. He said the most important thing is for people to get along. It's more important than skill, right? And I think that kind of holds true, especially for product management. Like for me, uh, the best product managers are people who can be very open-minded, very honest in a caring way, and who are very truthful in their feedback. And those are simple statements, but there's a lot of stuff behind that, right? Um, when you are truly open-minded, you ask questions with a purpose to learn. You believe there's something new, there's something more you need to know to be able to make good decisions. And when you're open-minded, you bring people along for the thought process to get to a decision. And that's very different than someone who's going to just declare that their opinion is the right one because they are the product manager, right?
Right.
That's probably the single biggest difference in the two approaches. And for me, when I invite people to work with me, um, someone who is, truthful, transparent, and open-minded are probably the single biggest attributes. So if you read business books and stuff, which I do a little bit, not a ton, but my favorite author is Ray Dalio. He talks about radical truth, radical open-mindedness, and radical transparency as sort of like the biggest principles you can adopt to have successful teams and teams that are cohesive and work well together. And that's because when you do that, you have people, you have teammates who have your back, who are going to try to make the right decisions, not because it serves their own self-interest, but because it serves the interest of the organization, of the team.
Yeah.
So those soft skills, and they're so important. They're more important than the hard skills. I'd rather have someone who fits those attributes on the soft skill side and has the curiosity and the open-mindedness to learn the hard skills, like the technologies that are specific to our stack, the market that's specific to our product. All those things can be learned, especially by someone who's got the personal attributes that I described. Those things to me are more important than the hard skills on the resume.
So you were you had no idea what made you a successful product manager, and you were asking people like, hey, thanks for the feedback. Like, I'm glad that you think I'm good and stuff, but why? Why am I good? Have you been able to get some clarity on what you feel made you successful in your career this far, and kind of some of the lessons learned and mistakes you made along the way?
So I think I heard most of the question. The audio blanked out when you first started your question, but I think you asked me. No, it's not your fault. Technology, man, it happens sometimes. I think you asked me about my path to kind of learning how the things that I did that made me successful in product management, and if I've been able to get some clarity in what lessons I learned. Is that kind of what you asked?
That was the essence, yes.
All right, cool. So I think I understand more. I think when I ask people, it's hard for them to articulate, because it's really hard to articulate those soft skills. It's hard to kind of categorize them. It's a lot harder to give you a bullet that says, here's what the thing is that you're doing well and why you're successful. Usually it's because the result of an interaction makes you feel a certain way, makes you feel trusted, makes you feel like you can trust, makes you feel like you're in it for a win-win. And in kind of doing my own self-reflection and research, and that's why I brought up Ray Dalio, because he probably has the clearest model that I've seen that helps you understand the crux of what those attributes are. So I think those three things that I mentioned, radical truth, transparency, and open-mindedness, for me, are the ones that probably ring the closest to what's been kind of the secret to my own personal, success, such as it has been.
Is he the guy that wrote Principles, or is he the guy that wrote Sapiens?
Yeah, he wrote Principles. So
Principles.
He's the guy. He's the investment banker guy. He built this massively successful trading company, but he started by failing. He built a company and then it went bankrupt in one of the crashes in the 80s, I think. He had to borrow money from his dad to stay afloat. He was like in his apartment, like it was pretty bad. So from that, he just became maniacal about just learning. So I failed the first time. What can I learn from that opportunity? And I can only learn by soliciting really good feedback from smart people that I trust, and by being open-minded enough to accept that feedback and adjust, right? So when you do that and you're just focused on learning continuously from every possible experience that you have, you become supremely valuable, because you're not stuck in a certain way that feeds your ego. I don't need to feel like I was right when I gave that opinion 2 weeks ago. If I've got a set of facts now that are presented to me that tell me I'm wrong, I might have an emotional reaction to that. I might feel embarrassed, but inevitably it serves my long-term purpose to acknowledge that I was wrong, make an adjustment, be humble about it, and know that that's going to happen again, and learn from the opportunity and move on. And when you do that continuously and it becomes habit, not doing it, it becomes so unnatural and so counterproductive that it's kind of become a sort of a way of life for me, not just for work, but for, parenthood and pet ownership and fitness and everything else, right? It's a thirst for learning that I sort of try to keep, and it keeps me energized, keeps things fun.
So Mario, I'm going to give you, I know I told you I'd not ask any difficult questions, but I lied, because that's who I am.
I know, John.
I'm a challenger in general. But a two-part question, and I think it's an important one. What is some of the best feedback you've ever received from one of your employees? And the second part to that question is, you're hiring a product manager right now. You're one of probably 3 tech companies in Ottawa that's booming right now, even amidst all of the new world. What is your next employee? What is your next product manager getting from you as a leader?
Okay. Let me just think about that for a few seconds. The first question was, what's the best feedback you've ever had from an employee? And then and the second part is, what is a new employee getting from me? I would say that the best feedback that I've had from an employee is, at least the one that comes to mind now, is I wasn't present enough at the time. I wasn't around enough. I was getting caught up in what were important things to do, but tactical things that were sort of outward facing. And when you've got, people with executive titles kind of clawing for your attention, it's hard to say no, right? When you get the CEO or the CTO or whoever of a given company saying, I need your time, I need you to focus on this, or I need this report, your tendency is to is to just prioritize that, because it's like, these are important people and you want to sort of please them.
Sure. Yeah.
So at the time, the person that worked for me said, like, dude, I need your guidance. And you've been like in 9 hours of meetings for like 10 days straight.
Yeah.
I need your help. I need to talk to you. We need to talk about this stuff. I need to kind of figure out my own priorities, and I'm struggling, and I need to be there. So my biggest takeaway there was didn't read the cues. I had to be slapped across the face to say, like, dude, you're missing something important. And that was really valuable. So, and I still slip sometimes. I'm not perfect, but I do I've got a reminder now that's set for myself every 2 weeks that asks me the question: are you getting caught up on just high level but tactical tasks versus paying attention to my team and how my team's doing? And do they have what they need? And do they know what their mission is? Do they have their cause? And are there things that I can help with, right? Yeah. So I try to check in more often. That's the outcome that I took from that feedback. There's lots of other examples that didn't just come from employees, by the way. It came from family, great feedback from family. One time, I'll share this, one time someone very close to me said I could be very passive aggressive. That was a long time ago. Oh yeah. And that was a real shot across the bow. Like, oh my God, that's horrible. I can't, that's
the worst kind of aggressive to be.
Oh, it's awful. And I've made it like a personal mission to solve that, to never do that. And I think I've succeeded there. At least I feel like I have. But that was a very important one, and it kind of started me down the path of kind of self-improvement in those kinds of soft skill areas. Anyway, that's a bit more personal maybe than you wanted, but there you go. To the second part of your question now. I think what the biggest thing that someone gets from me is the most transparency you can imagine. Short of like legal secrets that I can't divulge, which are very rare, I am an open book to people that I work with and people who work on my teams. And the reason for that is actually quite selfish. I believe in missions. I believe missions coalesce people to really give their all and apply their energy to solving a set of problems for a given outcome. And for us to have a common mission, I need everyone on my team to understand the core business result we want to get to at that very high level, and then sort of translate that down to what we're trying to do. Because fundamentally, and this is where the selfish part comes in, if that top level mission is achieved by a different approach that I'm proposing, I want to know about it. Yeah. It's quite possible I'm missing something. And if I hire smart people to work around me and I'm open to their feedback, I stand to learn from people that I work with, right? I'm not sure if this is actually a true quote by Steve Jobs. Remember when he said something like, we don't hire smart people and tell them what to do. We hire smart people so they can tell us what to do.
That's right.
It's kind of the same thing, right? I don't know if it's true that he said that or not, but I kind of believe that. I'll give my guidance, I'll give my opinion, but I will explicitly tell people on my team, I need your opinion. If you disagree with me, tell me. Don't hide it. Don't tell me what I want to hear. Tell me what I need to know so we can all be better as a team. That's the mission that I take on for myself, and kind of what I commit myself to doing.
So Mario, this might be too much information, but one of my favorite things about you is that you're comfortable with guilty pleasures, and yeah. I really thought it was really thoughtful for you to share your Taylor Swift concert tickets with me last summer. And I wasn't able to make it that time. I'm a huge Tay-Tay fan, but I just couldn't make it with family commitments and whatnot. I'm really curious to know, you've got the exterior, you've got the professionalism, you've got the glasses, you've got the haircut. You're a human being, but what are you doing to stay sane right now with the new world and yeah. You've got the new puppy, you've got the new everything.
Yeah.
Like, how are you keeping whole with the family, and what can we do?
I stay sane because I focus on things I love. I mean, that's a pretty obvious answer. It's kind of too simple. My guilty pleasure, I'll tell you right off the bat, is I love a good Irish whiskey, and a good American bourbon, and a good Scotch. All the different kinds of whiskeys. So if I have a guilty pleasure,
or is it like the new United Nations? Like you have like booze of the world every day, or is this like
Oh no, no, I just yeah, I just so I've got a friend that I drink Irish whiskey with on a regular basis. He and I have this thing where we get together usually every Friday night and have an Irish whiskey. If I'm on my own, I like a bourbon, but I've got some buddies that are big Scotch guys too, and so I can partake in a good Islay, which is that peaty sort of smoky type Scotch. So I like those as well. But lately, I'll tell you one thing. What I've gotten into is I found these really cool ice makers on Amazon where you can make really clear ice. You know, when you go to a restaurant and you get an ice cube that's super clear, and the ice lasts like forever because it's not full of air bubbles. So there's a couple of really cool inventions, or very well inventions, or simple gadgets you can buy from Amazon where you can make really clear ice cubes. My family laughs at me for them, but I think they're fantastic. So I enjoy that quite a bit.
Well, you may be the king of ice, but you're a pretty solid dude, and I think there's a lot of people out there that may or may not see this video. I have no idea, but I think it's great that you guys are booming, and from a job market standpoint, there's a lot of product managers that would be really fortunate to have the opportunity to work with you, and I really appreciate your time. We'll publish this thing and hopefully have some good conversations with people. And listen, I don't want to shake your hand because I can't, but I will wing it. Be
there
like,
elbows.
Go. You be good, be safe.
Right back at you, John. I appreciate everything you're doing, man. You're a good dude too. I love our conversations. Let's keep going.
Always a pleasure.
All right, take care.
Good one.